Welcome to the Happy Cafe, a place where you can expand your soul to unimaginative ways of helping others, expressing yourself without judgment, and really showcasing your talents for the world to see. Today, we are honored to have a very special guest, Sohini Roy Chowdhury, a world renowned dancer, choreographer, and a philosopher and professor of Natya Shastra. She's the founder of Sohini Moksha World Dance and Communications. She has performed in very impressive places around the world, and she chooses to live between Madrid, Calcutta, and Berlin. Sohini and her multinational Sohini Moksha Troup's worldview and mission is connecting civilizations and enriching lives through art, music, and dance. Some of her notable performances have been at the premiere of the multi-Oscar winning Slumdog Millionaire, IFA Awards 2016 Madrid, the Times of India Festival, the Noche en Blanco, Spain's biggest cultural festival, Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Kochi, and so many more. She really is the queen of dance, and we're here to share with her her journey and showcase the brilliance of what she does to make the world a happier place. So welcome, Sohini.
Namaste, all of you. It's wonderful, very happy, and I'm very honored to be here with you, Anu. And it's a wonderful place. Exchange ideas, to touch lives, and to come closer to one another.
Thank you. So, Sohini, tell us a little bit about your childhood and your foray into dance.
Yes, I was born in Calcutta. My father was a sitar maestro playing classical sitar. He was also an economist, and my mother was a sculptor. And I grew up in a home where music and art was very important, but education had to be also there. And I also grew up learning that humanity is a fusion, a bit of Tchaikovsky, a bit of our raga music, Bharatnatyam, ballet, all of that together, I think, was my father's introduction of us into this world of fusion, into this world of humanity and arts, where we cease to judge each other and feel close to each other culturally. I think that was what went to my DNA, which later became the voice of Sohini Moksha.
Wow. And you started to perform and learn and train and dance at a very young age.
Yes, I started at 4. I started learning Bharatnatyam from my revered Guru Thankamani Kutti and Guru Kalamandalam Venkit. I learned Bharatnatyam, Mohiniyattam, and Kathakali, but I specialized in Bharatnatyam. I wanted to take it further. And I was performing since I was 17 years old all over Europe and also in India. And it was 10 years into classical pure Bharatnatyam solo. After that, I started my own troupe and started my own choreography and vision of what the world should be. That was replicated in our Sohini Moksha world dance operas, where we had Bharatnatyam synchronized with jazz ballet, with flamenco, and contemporary forms, and we had maybe Japanese drums with Sanskrit chants and various other chants like the Gregorian chants and Sufi music. Because I made my own music and we started storytelling in what we call Sohini dance opera, world dance opera on stage. That is what we do on stage, and that is what we've done for the last 10 years. With my Moksha troupe with people from 14 different countries, all hearts and arts coming together. And that is what we customize our music, our stories, and fuse the cultures and dance forms to present on stage what for me is magic and also the truth of humanity, that we are all one.
I love that. I love the sentence, the truth of humanity and connecting civilizations. And as a visionary, what was that aha moment or that ideology that really brought you to that concept? And how do you actually do that? Maybe you could share a performance that you have, been able to do at an event or a festival, because I know you've performed all over the world. So share a little bit about that.
Yes, this moment was actually quite a sad moment, but as we know, the sweetest songs are the saddest thoughts. So similarly, this was when I had just moved to Spain, and I was in an interview. The director of this cultural center wanted to interview me for a forthcoming concert, and he was a very, very European person in that manner. But when he spoke to me, there was a bit of cultural racism. And he told me, "Oh, you're going to do Indian. Why don't you do Bollywood? In Bollywood, all the heroes take off their shirt and throw it to the audience. Maybe you could do the same, and our audience would love it." And I remember walking out of his office and deciding maybe I don't want to dance in this country if this is how people want to think about it. But after 3 days, I think there was this rebirth where I was furiously dancing to a piece of Tchaikovsky and do a production on nature and us, where we are talking about the importance of nature and Mother Earth and how we should preserve it. And after 3 days, I think that deconstruction, tragedy, reconstruction process had happened, and we had a new production which after that was showed by at the premiere of all film festivals, all gallery openings, all cultural shows, and Shohini Moksha had happened, breaking down barriers and fighting racism hard. So that was definitely a very important moment of my life. The most important, it was a turning point. So, and I wanted to share it with all of you today because it's not always something very happy or something very appreciative that happens, which causes you to, break down everything and create yourself again. So that is what I wanted to share, and I'm glad you asked me this question.
And thank you so much for sharing. And I think it's so critical what you just said in today's world, especially with the pandemic and also with a lot of people facing failure or difficulties and challenges. And I, myself being an artist, I understand a lot of good work comes from pain. So, and because we're at the Happy Cafe, I really want to know how you deal with pain or how you dealt with the pain. I know creation is a great form, it gets you into the flow of that moment that helps. But how do you deal with it? How do you find those happy moments when things don't work out, or if someone's been, for example, racist in this situation?
Yes, I deal with pain initially, it hits me very hard. But then that grief and anger and sorrow all turns into your work. And I've always created pieces of dance. Some of my best choreographies have been after these very hard so by now I don't care too much. I mean, if a situation is getting very hard, I'm glad because I know something is happening within, and the creative process is going to just take over and overwhelm. So that is how we deal with it. And as artists, in a regular corporate job, in other you have certain parameters. You would be at a comfortable position someday or the other, but an artist always has to fight at every level for acceptance, for recognition, for economic comfort, and all of that. And then when these world issues happen, like a pandemic or anything else, the first thing that is cut out from the budget of a nation is the cultural part, because there are other things. There's education, there's health service, there's all of that, there's defense. So we are always kind of walking on the tightrope, and it is this tightrope walking that helps us in the creative process, because I feel if you're too much in your comfort zone, we might become mediocre. So artists, we are supposed to be on the edge. We are supposed to take the plunge all the time and rebuild, recreate ourselves, recreate the way we see the world, and reach out to different audiences and create new stories of empathy. I mean, that is the way I look at it.
Yes, so true. I like the way you said that, and I so agree with you. I think people give importance to teaching children science, math, and all of that, which is relative for the Maya world or the professional world. But what they don't realize, and maybe they do in some cases, is that music, dance, visual arts is taught in every school everywhere in the world, and that is a common connect in itself, and that is the truest form of expression from a cultural perspective. So as a teacher of dance, and I know you do so much work around the world, and you are the visiting professor of dance at the Los Andes University in Bogota, Colombia, and the Jawaharlal Nehru Cultural Center in Moscow, the Salamanca University, the Casa Asia, is that a school in Madrid? As well as the visiting professor of Indian dance for the University at Madrid, the Tyrol Cultural Council in Austria, and the Southampton County Council in UK. So how do you manage to do all of this amazing stuff, and what is that most important, I guess, soul experience when it comes to teaching, because it's so enriching?
Absolutely. And my father would always say, my father's no longer in the world. He went away suddenly at the age of 73 after a rigorous concert in Berlin. He always told me that, what you do on stage as a performer, that should be a cakewalk because that is all you do. That is what you've learned since you were four. That is where your passion was. So you're bound to do it perfectly. But how you transfer that knowledge to another soul, that actually shows me what a person is worth. And that has stayed with me forever. And I think my idea of heaven, more than the stage, is a classroom. And I've dealt with, I have students in New York, in Bogota, as you said, in Russia, in Croatia, many of them in Spain, many of them who are professional dancers today, and they learned from scratch from me. There's my student Celia in France, who's also a professional dancer in her own right. There's Kristina Vasilinova, who is also a stage artist, who's from Bulgaria. There's Maria Sanz in Spain, who is a stage artist. These are all my, girls. We've grown together, 10, 12 years together. They've learned dance from me, and they are performing now. But beyond that, I also teach margin in India. I only teach marginalized children because I feel they need my attention more. The regular kids can go to regular teachers. And there is my orphanage. It's called the Little Big Help, where we have rescued children, and there we have 21 girls who are learning Bharatanatyam from me, and it is our dream and our mutual commitment to each other that the next generation of artists in India should be from their section, because they are a complete, each of them are a mine of talent, of commitment. That is one. And I also do storytelling and dance therapy with the jail inmates in the prisons of Baikola and Thane jail in Mumbai. I work with the women and their children. I work with the deaf and mute rescued orphan girls in Rajasthan. I also work with the red light area children of Apne Aap, and I work with UNESCO for mental well-being and dance therapy with the displaced refugee children, refugee women and children of many places of displaced, countries. And what I usually do, my students in these sections of society, I also take them onto stage to perform on their own, because that gives them their I am moment. That helps them to aspire, that helps them to dream, that helps them to get out of their previous trauma, and also creates more self-esteem, because my children from the orphanage, after they've performed at the Times of India Festival and at the Oxford University, where I've taken them, the Oxford University Press, Oxford Bookstore, where my book was released. They danced perfectly without blinking, no mistakes. And that I am moment helps them better in their debating skills. It helps them in expressing themselves, asking questions in school, and doing better in self expression, So that part is very important. And as you said, it should be part of a school curriculum. It helps us beyond what we see.
So true. Tell us a little bit more when you said about the hand-eye coordination and trauma victims or victims in refugee camps, and they've seen horrors and they are coming from a deep place of emotional pain, and they're looking to maybe not even find happiness. Maybe they don't even they just want stability and a baseline fundamental platform from where they can begin, like you said, express themselves openly, have a space that they feel safe and self-confidence. How do you actually do this?
I do this usually, we dance together, we communicate together, so we know what each person warms up to. And accordingly, I use music, accordingly, I use storytelling and mudras and expressions. Because if you're going full throttle Bharatnatyam from the first moment, somebody who doesn't know anything about it might be very intimidated. So it needs to be very user friendly, very dancer friendly. And since I work with even children at the age of 5 or 6 too, much older, I work out what makes them happy, what excites them. It might be a particular tune, and then we use that tune to tell them to imagine something and work a story out with a mudra we teach them. So it is like a conversation. It is like a love story, a communication going on. And in 10 sessions, they've already learned Adavus, that is the alphabets of Bharatanatyam, three groups of Adavus, and maybe 20 mudras, and some certain Abhinaya nuances without knowing that they are learning Bharatanatyam. So once they are in it, then they go further. So it's like a little game. It's like a little game of surprise and talent and expression. That's how I start, because that works best.
Exactly. So suppose in this situation, especially when there's lot of unrest, and now we're talking about more, of the new normal coming to us. And I like to use the word karuna because karuna is really teaching us compassion and love. How can we,
Absolutely.
as people who may not have the gift of dance but definitely have music in the house, use music and dance in our own spaces, in our homes, to first find self love and compassion for ourselves, and after filling our cup, share it with others in our home and overcome depression or anxiety?
Absolutely, and I feel every human being can dance within their capacity, within their parameters, because there is no set rule that you have to do this or that. I'm not saying anybody has to go on stage, but dancing for one's own happiness can be done at every level by everybody. And mudras, they have healing effects, and our old texts tell us that there are certain mudras which, if repeated, can help anxiety attacks. There are certain ones which, increase the strength of the lungs. Some that have a good effect on the cholesterol or blood pressure, or help a person from having a nervous breakdown. So our mudras actually help that. And I do healing and wellness classes on Sundays. I was doing it with Narayana Health to show people how they could improve their health in an elegant, artistic way, which excites their senses with mudras. And similarly, I have a module also for old age homes or old and infirm people in old age homes, which I'm planning to start this autumn in UK. Old people, even on wheelchairs, they can do their favorite mudras. They can choose their favorite song. Maybe your favorite song is about Krishna, flute, Radha, and with the song you can do your mudras. The flute that Radha listens to, the feather on Krishna's head. Radha hears the song and waits for Krishna, and waits in surprise till he turn ups, and there is Krishna waiting for her. These little nuances with songs, with poetry, with it could be your own poetry, 4 5 lines that you may have written. It may be the poetry of Tagore or Neruda or Rumi. It could be Wordsworth or Shakespeare. Just to enact those little things creates a lot of happiness within. There's the sense of you as about yourself, and there is healing effect on the entire body. Each time we are doing a mudra, we are pressing our fingertips, which kind of brings in energy within the channels of our body. It enhances our chakras, it pushes into our chakras the energy, the right energy, which helps us feel better and which helps us with the well-being of our body and our mind. So it's like a 5-way process.
Beautiful. And I know you share so much on social media about the stories and mythology. And do you have your interpretation of the Tandav that Shiv did? Because I know in Hindu mythology that's one of the most famous dances.
Yes, yes. My style, I have also developed the Tandav style of dancing, which is known as the Shoini Moksha style. And we do that a lot. And Shiva's Tandav was at Tandav. The word Tandav actually means tears of Shiva. When Sati immersed herself into the fire, when her father was insulting and ridiculing Shiva, she immersed herself into the fire, and Shiva was devastated, shocked, in grief. And that dance, Tandav, means actually tears of Shiva, because psychologists also say that all our greatest angers are actually another way of grief translated. So this is Tandav, and the mythology I write on social media. I have also, Rolly Books has just published a coffee table book on my journey and my interpretation of mythology and stage. It is called Dancing with the Gods. It would be great if all of you had a copy of that.
Where can we find that?
My interpretation, and
Where can
also
we
I
find your
think
books already?
the book is available on Amazon. It's called Dancing with the Gods. I'll send you a link also. So, and the main thing is, our mythology is very global. I want to write about it. Takes off, people have their own myths and misconceptions in their heads. For example, I have seen pictures of great rock stars, in the West. During Halloween, they're dressing up like Kali and going and saying, "Oh, Kali, this is a she demon of India." And I said, "My God, this is complete lack of education." And it's no point getting angry about this or feeling grief at this kind of a racist comment. But it's better to enlighten people that see who Kali is. Kali is a mother goddess, and that darkness actually celebrates light and brings about light. It is eradication of the darkness and bringing about light and the women empowerment. So I tend to be passionate about these pieces, and I put it onto social media, and we have a book on this, as I said, Dancing with the Gods, and I will soon bring about another book. So this interpretation, this understanding and empathy is important, I feel. I mean, because India is not just about bindis or Bollywood or wearing bangles. That gives it a very superficial India exotica image, which we are fighting all the time. I feel that when we know each other's culture well, each other's mythology well, that is the only time when we can really break barriers, empathize towards each other, and be one world. So that is the idea of my writing in detail mythological nuances, on social media also.
That's great. We look forward to reading your book, and I'm definitely going to get my hands on a copy very quickly on Amazon. I really like the fact that you explained the mudras, and maybe later I would ask you to display maybe three simple mudras that we can all learn and use in our daily life. And dancing definitely brings about the happy chemicals like serotonin, dopamine, endorphins into our system, and it is such a integral part of who we are. Children dance so automatically and naturally when music tends to play, and I feel like if everybody in the world took your advice and did that, we would all be so much happier. So tell me more about your productions and also in this virtual world, especially the last year and a half, how have you been able to adapt yourself and your productions to still continue to reach out to the world?
Yes. You see, the COVID hit all of us, and artists the worst, because an artist, to feel alive, you need to communicate. To you have real people, who are immersed in your art. And COVID times, we've been going online for the first time, learning so many technical things because I'm quite technology challenged. I have no shame in saying so, that's honest. And I've learned about StreamYard and Zoom and how to best use technology to reach out to not 2,000 people in a real auditorium, but to 36,000, 40,000 people. And that is something that which I like very much, because otherwise, with the time zone problems, in an auditorium we would have about 400 people or 2,000 people, not more than that. That's the capacity. But here my UK shows there are 36,000 people watching. So the ability to be able to reach out to so many, that is one good thing that I think the COVID is a mixed blessing then. On one hand, of course, our freedom is curtailed and there's tremendous anxiety and what is happening, but the ability to be able to reach out to so many people, create this creates kind of an empathy wave among so many. It's like a live Woodstock festival. We don't know each other, we haven't met each other, but we are all connected in this common thread of this rasa. That is, I think, a very humanist part, which we can take further after the COVID and cement this human bond that could have been created during this time. That's my way of looking at it.
Yeah, that is a beautiful explanation. I know that you do so much. You won so many awards, like the Mahatma Gandhi Pravasi Samman by the House of Lords in the British Parliament, the Priyadarshini Award, New Delhi, for your outstanding achievement in the arts, and also you're the European Ambassador for India for Tourism Incredible India campaign. It's amazing how you manage all these, you know, you balance all these different talents and still get these awards. And also, you live in three different countries. How do you manage all this? And congratulations on all your awards and accolades. So, tell us a little bit more about each of your awards and how do you balance living in three countries?
Thanks, Anu, to start with. And balancing living in three countries has become simple now. Initially, it was difficult. But actually, as an artist, we are at home. Home is the stage and the classroom. Geographical location is not really important. I could tell you from my heart that tomorrow, if I'm, in a desert with a large room where I am teaching, there are many students, and I have a clean bathroom, I'll still sleep very happily. So, Spain, I have many students. More than 2,000 students have passed through me. Out of them, 40 or 45 would be at stage level now, and they are doing various things themselves. Berlin is my German base because I work a lot with UNESCO in Austria and Germany. So the year is split into three parts, more or less. One part of it is meant for the Western world. At that time, I'm based out of Germany or Spain, and traveling even to the US, UK parts. And the other 5 months are for India because we have all the concert shows here. And I have my marginalized children to intensively teach. And about my awards, I would say the Pravasya Bharatiya Samman was something I was very honored at the House of Lords. And the Priyadarshini Award, also as a woman artist and achiever from the President of India's office, was also filled with happiness. And I got one more award, which is called the Women's Economic Forum Award, the WEF Award in Delhi, which also not only does it bring a lot of honor and recognition for your work, but also binds you, this sisterhood of women, building each other up. That is an important ethos that we all should be part of, I think. Especially when we are fighting patriarchy and the scars that is left on us. Instead of playing victim, if we can just connect with our I am, lift each other up as women, you know that really goes a very long way. So that
Oh,
award is very
yes.
special in that way. And I've been nominated, and I'm a finalist with this She Inspires Award, which is being given in UK. I don't know whether I'll win it, but I'm a finalist, and I feel very happy about that I've been able to connect lives with art and empathy. And I think the main takeaway from art is the kindness and the lack of judgment, and that we can all connect together. So that is the gist of the awards and the classes all around the world and the concerts. I think it's just one extended home.
Yeah, I agree. And Sri Shakti and the power of women as nurturers of the universe and Mother Nature by itself, it speaks so highly as to why we are all so well connected naturally by the earth and everything that surrounds us in the universe. It's all about energy and really healing and bringing people together, even in a time of karuna or compassion. And, in Canada, we believe, especially with the indigenous, there is so much similarity between India and Canada, especially when you look at the Madhubani paintings. The indigenous folks in Canada also like to paint animals and trees and nature, and so does the Madhubani paintings depict nature. The totem poles and the Ashoka pillar, which are just one famous pillar, but I'm sure there's several totem poles in the tribal areas of Orissa and other parts of India. So, have you done anything, or is there an interest to work between the two countries, India and Canada?
Oh, I would love to. I would love to, because Canada. What is very important? Yesterday, we were performing at the opening at the LGBTQIA International Film Festival, Kashish, in Mumbai. And we had, I think, one of your ministers speaking there. And what I loved is so much kindness and empathy, and they extend their, it's about inclusivity, it's about nature, and it's about humanity. And that is what I love so much. I would be very happy and would be honored to work with Canada.
I think we'll have a great opportunity. I believe is this the 75th year of independence, or is it next year for India?
This,
I
this
think it
year,
is.
this year was 75 years of India's independence, yes.
Yes, and about 3 years ago we celebrated 150 years in Canada, which is not the Indigenous celebration, but the celebration of the immigrants who came into Canada for the first time. But I do believe that a lot of things are being planned for the year coming up because the people still want to have a live performance and feel the vibration of the artists, showcasing their talent and showcasing their soul, really, the soul space creation, which is from a true place. And so I have a few people who are interested, and I don't know if you know this, but I did work for the Canadian federal government in India to open up the first
Mhm.
channel for bilateral trade in art and culture. And I thought it was such a unique as well as integral part of bringing the two countries together. So I hope that we can, work towards that. And everyone who's listening and all the viewers out there, if you do have ideas, please write to us and share opportunities, share your talents, and we'd be more than happy to collaborate with you. So my next question to you is maybe you could show us those three simple mudras that all of our viewers listening and seeing this program could, understand the meaning behind it and also the importance of how it could alleviate anxiety, depression, or just bring them joy and happiness.
Absolutely. I will start with a mudra called the Shiva Mudra. where your right hand is over your left hand, just kept like this. Pull in all your fingers together, stretch your fingers optimally. Thumb is joined to the rest of the hand, and the right hand kept on the left hand like this. Keep it away from the body and breathe deeply. This is the Shiva Mudra, and this helps to feel energized. This helps your lungs, this helps your sinuses, and this also helps your spinal cord. This is the mudra.
And do we have to be sitting in lotus position, or we can sit on a chair?
No, you can see, if you can sit in lotus position, great. But otherwise, you can just sit anywhere, because a lot of people cannot sit on the floor. You know, so you could sit on a sofa, straight back chair, or a sofa, and do this while you're watching TV or while you're waiting for something. This is the Shiva Mudra. The Durga Mudra is exactly the opposite, the left over the right. And that, the Durga Mudra, hands away from the body. Durga Mudra helps alleviate tension. It helps you breathe better. If you have thyroid issues, this mudra really helps. It helps in the hypertension and helps better blood circulation. So this was the Shiva Mudra, right over left. Durga Mudra is right, left over right. Next, we are going to do the Mayura in Bharatanatyam. This is your palm. Your ring finger is joined to your thumb. This is the Mayura, the peacock. But these two fingers pressed against each other helps asthmatic attacks, helps bronchial attacks, helps make your lungs stronger, and also helps alleviate hypertension. This is the Mayura, the peacock.
Wow. Thank
So
you.
those three mudras, and you know, if done for 2 minutes, each of the mudras are done for 2 minutes, 5-6 times, every day at a specific time, in 7 to 10 days, one feels the effect on the body.
And do you have to practice at a specific time during the day? You recommend early morning, or?
Well, early morning is always better, but in a busy urban life, you know, one doesn't know when you're free. So whenever you have a free moment, you relax, breathe deeply, and practice your mudras. Ideally, it would be with some sunlight coming in.
Nice. And you did say you learned 3 different dance forms. Maybe you can expand
Yes.
on those for our audiences who may or may not be aware, and share the story behind it, or the, epic, the local, I guess, uniqueness of each of those dance forms.
Yes. See, my main dance is Bharatanatyam. That is what I've developed. And Bharatanatyam comes from Tamil Nadu. Bharatanatyam was initially a temple dance performed by the Devdasis, the women priests of the temples, who performed on occasions like moonlit nights, on Holi, on Dashera, on Diwali, and were performing for the gods. So it has a very deep spiritual link and is very deeply connected with nature. Bharatanatyam is the oldest dance form of India, which started with the Devdasis. And Bharat Natyam. Natyam means dance. Bharat, Bha means bhava, which is emotion. Abhinaya that you show. Ra is raga, the melody which of the primary raga, or the melody of the song that you are dancing to. And Ta stands for tala, rhythm. Mainly we use a lot of aditala, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But we have many other rhythms also in Bharatanatyam. And Bharatanatyam was usually danced only by women when it started. But later, of course, as things changed, the world changed, there were a lot of men who wanted to dance Bharatanatyam also. And it was known as the Dasi Atyam, actually, because Dasi as in maid of God. maid of honor, maid of God, and was called Bharatnatyam around 1952. And it was taken from the temples to the stage. So it could be seen not only by the temple priests and the local zamindars and people who are religiously inclined, but by others as an art form. Kathakali was had started originated in Kerala, and it has a lot of similarities with the Kabuki theatre. It is a very highly stylized dance form which takes about 8 hours only to apply the makeup. It is danced to the sound of the drums. The music of Kathakali has not evolved much and had stayed in that very ancient dramatic form. And Kathakali shows you very uh, larger than life stories of gods, of Shiva, of Krishna, of Ravana, of monsters, and of gods. And it is all about mythology and has a fairy tale quality. Kathakali was initially danced more by men. It was more of a men's dance form, and later more women came into the canvas. And Kathakali also uses very primal colors, like green to show happiness, yellow to show adbhutam or wonder, red to show anger. It uses these basic colors, which is also seen in Kabuki theatre. Mohiniyattam is a dance of Kerala, which was actually modeled on the swaying palms of Kerala. When there's a spring breeze or when there's a breeze on the seaside, the palms swing from one side to another, and the entire dance emulates the movement of the palm trees in the breeze. And it is believed that Vishnu, the god in the Holy Trinity who sustains, he took the form of Mohini, a beautiful woman, to distract Shiva, to distract the Asuras and bring about their end. It was the spirit of Mohini that transcended all the palm trees that were dancing in joy. And that is the spirit of Mohiniyattam. You wear white, white and gold, whereas Kathakali has many colors, vibrant colors. Bharatnatyam also wears the sari, the 16-yard sari in the form of a dress. Mohiniyattam is all white and gold and is said to embody the spirit of Mohini, that is Vishnu in the form of a woman, to tantalize and tease. So these are the three forms, more or less, to explain it in short.
Would you say there's a favorite? Is
Sorry?
something you lean towards more? Would you say you have a favorite, something you lean towards more? I mean, each one is unique and different in its
Yes,
own way,
totally.
but
My favorite is Bharat. My favorite. See, I do not perform. I choreograph Kathakali and Mohiniyattam parts also, but I perform only Bharatnatyam on stage because I felt I grew in every direction in Bharatnatyam. So Bharatnatyam is the closest to my heart. Yes.
yes. So, they say the purpose of life is to find your gift and the meaning of life is to give it away. So, I know you've done so much, you're doing so much. What would be the next big thing for your production house, and what are you planning in the next, say, 6 months that's exciting that we should all know about?
Well, it could be a film. It could be a film. I would love to kind of capture love stories on celluloid. That would be wonderful. And the other thing in my mind is a Broadway show with our mythologies globalized and stylized in the form of a world dance opera. That I would love to do and
Nice.
bring about the layers of our deep philosophy that are so important for the entire globe to kind of
Beautiful.
unfurl those and bring that in front of the world in our dance forms, in our dance operas.
Nice. I hope some of our viewers listening, maybe there's a producer or a filmmaker who really will help us manifest this dream for you. So, what would be your favorite song? If I was to say, if you had to think about it in the next 5 seconds, what's your favorite song?
My favorite song, there are many actually, Very difficult to say which is my favorite song, but Raga Bhairavi in Indian classical, the Raga Bhairavi, that is one of my all time favorites. And in Bollywood, there is a song Mere Dhol Na Sun, Mere Pyar Ke Dhun. That also, I love that song because it's sung like a Bharatnatyam with a lot of Bharatnatyam rhythms with Aditar. And I've performed to that many, many times and got my students to perform to it also for leading world shows where they were showcasing the connection between Bollywood and classical dances. So that would definitely be my favorite Bollywood song. And as I said,
And
in
you talked
Raga
about
music, it would.
Tchaikovsky. You talked about
Sorry?
Tchaikovsky and you talked about Tchaikovsky and all of the European music that you've been exposed to. Is there a favorite European composer or a tune or a song that you like?
Yes, I like Beethoven very much. We dance a lot to his Fifth Symphony and Chopin, of course. We love Paco Lucia with his flamenco beats. Yes, this is about it.
Nice. So if we were to
Mozart,
say,
of course. Mozart also, we've performed rigorously to Mozart and a lot brings out this element of nature. So those would be favorites because I've choreographed and I've danced to it, so it gets into you.
nice, what would be your advice to people out there in finding joy either through dance or music, or just a bit of advice that they could use to really evolve, and especially young women who are looking for that Stri Shakti within, or that empowerment? What advice would you give them?
I would like to tell all of you that the Stree Shakti and empowerment is within you. Women are already empowered. We do not need a third person to come and empower us. We've always been empowered. Just find it within yourself and find peace within yourself. If you're happy and peaceful within yourself, you can follow your dreams. Use music and dance as your inner power. And Stree Shakti is part of you. Stree Shakti is within you like oxygen. You just need to believe in it as you move ahead with your dreams.
I like that advice. I'm going to use it too. Thank you so much for sharing. We've had a really wonderful time with you as our guest today. And at the Happy Cafe, as you said, we are still virtual, but there will be a day and time when we will actually be a cafe where we showcase everything that scintillates your senses: touch, taste, sight, sound, smell. And of course, dance and music being a very integral part of it. We will have performance, we will have spaces and places where expression can be unique, it can be without judgment, and it can be a great cultural connect for civilizations and countries all around the world. So thank you so much for your time, and tell us more about where we can find more information on your social media as well as your website.
Yes, I have a website www.shohinimoksha.com. My website has a lot of information, and the book, I think, it's our journey, the last 10 years, our stage journey through the various odds and ends of every country, breaking the barriers of racism, finding light in unexpected places, and our interpretation of mythology and dance. Our book is called The Dancing with the Gods. It's a book, it's a coffee table book, which I think all of you would enjoy, and it's about us connecting. So
Wonderful. Well, we look forward to collaboration and hope to welcome you to Canada and have celebrations of this beautiful dance that you celebrate around the world. And thank you for being our guest today and being a part of Happy Cafe. To all the viewers out there, please do comment and share, and we will be more than delighted to help along with the collaborations and greater opportunities to spread culture around the world. So thank you, everyone, and wish you a very, very happy evening, happy day, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much.